scares me. Come on in, like the video, subscribe to the page. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21, where we talk hot topics, trending, what's going on in the news, in the media. We we cover. I'm gonna get my disclaimer going. It's gonna take people a few minutes to come in, so just give me a few seconds to go ahead do my. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Come on in, like the video as you guys come in. Channel by subscribing. Make sure you turn on your notifications so that when I go live, you'll be able to see that I'm live. Let me go ahead and do my disclaimer real quick. All comments are allegedly, period. Right disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news report, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by a copyright statute that otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to pretty much start here. I'm trying to think if I'm going to do any hot topics, trending topics. I'll think about it. Let's see, please like the video, liking the video by thumbsing up. It is free. Hit the like button. So definitely hit the like button, everyone. So, okay, there's my everything I needed to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the clip. Being here, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get into what's being talked about. Thanks for being here, everyone. Like the videos you guys come in. Thank you.
Today, on the day he took the oath of office, an oath he doesn't understand for the time, Donald Trump pardoned every person who committed crimes for him in the January 6th attack on the Capitol, which led to Donald Trump's own indictment for conspiracy against the United States. 1,600 people who committed crimes for Donald Trump were pardoned by Donald Trump on his first day in office 1 year ago, including the people who beat policemen and tried to beat policemen to death and threatened to kill Mike Pence.
Them
all. It was day one of the lawlessness of the Trump presidency. No one remembers the speech Donald Trump gave 1 year ago. No one walks around quoting lines from it or a single word from it, as people still do for John F. Kennedy's inauguration speech when Donald was 14 years old. I'm sure even Donald Trump can remember that famous line, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, that JFK said when Donald Trump was 14 years old. No one remembers a word Donald Trump said a year ago, but people will forever remember that was the day that the President of the United States, for the first time in history, pardoned people who committed crimes for him in an attempt to overthrow a presidential election. That will be what Donald Trump is remembered for. That's what he'll be remembered for doing exactly 1 year ago, that first day, his second time in the presidency. Today, Donald Trump stepped up to a microphone on the 1 year anniversary of his inauguration. His polling numbers have sunk over the last year, and he stood before White House reporters with a that he literally did not know how to handle, and almost injured himself by touching a binder clip as if for the first time in his life. We saw what appeared to be an exhausted 79-year-old man struggling to pretend to be interested in what he was there to do.
Here's the book on accomplishments, and this is something. Oh, I'm glad my finger wasn't in. That could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. What, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger. That was nasty. I think somebody did that. I think it was him. It was my man. How were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you did. So, but here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. We're the hottest country in the world. So.
Like the video.
The man is not well. presents all of the accomplishments as presented to him by his staff at the end of one full year of Trump governance. And he treats it like a pizza box he has just personally emptied and throws it on the floor. On the floor. Who does that? He's there to convince the press that this document that he was holding before he threw it away is a serious document. What he's going to read to us from that document is important. That's what he's trying to convince us. And he throws it on the floor, just throws it on the floor. Donald Trump has the weakest mind I've ever seen in the White House. He's the weakest person ever to live in the White House. He is the crybaby in chief. He is not just America's biggest crybaby. He is the world's biggest crybaby. When he's criticized by someone speaking on a television network, the entire network should be closed down. What kind of crybaby is that? Worst kind, the adult kind. When he doesn't get a Nobel Peace Prize, he will never get and will never deserve. He insists that the recipient of the Peace Prize should give it to him. And pathetically, he does. And because he is the weakest, smallest human being we have ever seen in American politics, he stupidly...
That's his thoughts and feelings. And let me fast forward a little bit. Like the videos, y'all come in. Like the videos, y'all come in. You know me. I try not to deal with insults. I try and be respectful. So when the news has reports, they have the reports, and that's his thoughts, not mine. Like the video, like the videos, y'all come in. It's what, live now? Let me continue.
Crybaby who shows pain whenever he is criticized in any way, whenever he is disagreed with. What followed at that microphone today was the kind of Trumpian display of ignorance and lying that we have become accustomed to. But now it's the 79-year-old version after a year in the White House, and he is weary, and he mixes up words. He is Iceland when he means Greenland, which we've all done at some point, but that's the kind of thing for which Donald Trump and much of the press corps would have attacked Joe Biden for days if he ever mixed up his words, getting a word wrong like that. Donald Trump spent an hour and 45 minutes at that microphone in the White House, and the word was never mentioned once in that room. But Greenland was, which is exactly the way Donald Trump wanted it to be today. Imagine if Joe Biden or Barack Obama were in the 31st consecutive day of breaking a law that was specifically written to force them to comply with that law. Imagine Joe Biden for 31 days violating a law passed by Congress requiring...
We're not going to do somebody else's ads on here. I don't know what they're talking about. We're not going to do somebody else's ad or promote whatever conversation I got going on. You have to go. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. I get a lot of views, so I'm going to be doing that.
Him to hand over documents. That's what Donald Trump is doing. Donald Trump is 31 days into violating the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which requires him to turn over the Epstein files to Congress. And he didn't get a single question about that today, because almost every question is about Greenland, exactly as planned. By the time Donald Trump took questions from the White House reporters, Donald Trump was exhausted, and his answers were shorter than usual. The questions were, as usual, bad. Illuminated nothing because, again, as usual, this was Donald Trump's favorite answer.
We'll see what happens. So we'll see what happens, but we'll see what happens. We're just going to have to see what happens. But, we'll find out.
The overused, exaggerated term leader of the free world has never been Donald Trump. Donald Trump's governing affections have been showered more on dictators than on the leaders of democracy. The only love letters Donald Trump has exchanged in the White House are with one of the world's most murderous dictators. The governments we think of as the major players of the free world are now all in a trade war with Donald Trump. And those countries today finally found their voice in a speaker not known for drama or exaggeration. Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney. Mark Carney addressed the World Economic Forum in Davos today, and it publicly that Canada is not.
Let's continue with this and what he had to say right here.
To use force, I won't use force. Probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force. We would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, where we would be unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want force. I won't use force. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest.
Let's continue. Use reaction clip. Like the videos, y'all come in. Like the videos, you guys come in.
Successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also. And then after the war, which we won it big. Us, right now, you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that?
Is there logic in that?
You know, Chris, we're looking at the consequences of a president of the United States who's never read a book before. He's wrong about us possessing Greenland. Norway was conquered by the Nazis. Greenland went into a kind of a preserver protectorate. Harry Truman by Greenland after World War II in 1946. Which shows that it was independent and not part of us. So he has his history wrong. But speaking of history, and I don't want to over-exaggerate, what we've seen today is something that is really new in the 21st century, which is, as Mark Carney called it, a rupture between the United States and Europe. This Atlantic Alliance, and alliances is something Trump doesn't understand or believe in, but the Atlantic Alliance has kept the peace in the world for years. It has boosted prosperity for everybody involved. And I think one of the things that the Europeans are realizing is just how much leverage they actually have over the United States. The European Union is our largest trade partner. The European Union owns 10% of U.S. treasuries, owns 10% of U.S. The European Union has tremendous leverage over the United States. And I think
He makes it sound like they don't. We have all the leverage.
Well, I think he's wrong. And I think if the Europeans decide, as Mark Carney said, that we can unite together in opposition to a hegemon, to an authoritarian hegemon who's trying to cripple us with tariffs, we can do that. I think they can do that. I think we're seeing for the first time today the Europeans realizing, man, we need to really group together here. The U.S. is not our friend. He's setting himself up as an adversary. He's insulting us. We have to use our leverage.
We saved Greenland and successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also. And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now, you'd all be speaking German and little Japanese.
Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Like the videos, you guys come in.
I got set up. I did. You made a job for the moderator really easy. Thank you, Mr. President, for your speech. I do have a few follow-up questions, if it's okay. I don't think I should start with Greenland, maybe. I'll start with the economy. The U.S. economy is doing really well. But how to sustain this growth moving forward? Because there's always a recession looming around the corner.
Well, you know, the one thing about economies and recessions is sometimes you get hit unexpectedly and there's nothing you can do about it. All brilliant people, but there's nothing. One example was COVID. We had an economy going at levels like nobody had ever seen my first 2.5, 3 years. And then I heard the word pandemic. We came up with that name over a period of time. We won't get into that. But I heard the word pandemic. And I had a poll come out that was so strong just prior to that, and I was with the two best pollsters, McLaughlin and Fabrizio, and they said, sir, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, if they came back and ran as president and vice president, they couldn't beat you. And then what happened is the following day, I was told to stay tuned because there's something really bad happening in China. There are bodies laying all over Wuhan, right around that certain building that we talk about. I always said it came from Wuhan. It did come from Wuhan. And they were body bags. We saw it by satellite. And they said, there are strange things happening in China. And so it began. And we ended up with the COVID and the whole world suffered. We did a phenomenal job. I don't think we got the credit we deserve. We did something that Operation Warp Speed, which some people say was one of the greatest military feats ever. We did a great job. Used our military, used a lot of people. But sometimes you get hit with things, nothing you can do. You get hit with things like that unexpectedly. And we got through it. And when I left, the stock market was higher than it was previous to the COVID coming up. And I called it a great achievement. But things happen. Bad things happen. The things that we can stop are wars if we're smart. That we can stop. Those are a matter of being intelligent and having intelligent people on the other side. Because wars are the worst of all. Wars are worse than anything. But we can stop wars because that's sort of up to us. But things like dust flying in the air, wherever COVID comes from or whatever comes, sometimes you have to be a little bit lucky. But we are poised to have an economy like no other, not only in this country, but anywhere. And you know, when you hear the kind of numbers that...
Did y'all hear what he just said? Was it just me? Dust flying in the air or wherever COVID comes from? Because many people were talking about that. How are people just up and just getting sick? If they're not near anybody, they're staying at home. How are people getting sick? I've never heard anybody say that. Listen again to what he said, whether it's something flying in the air.
And I called it a great achievement. But things happen. Bad things happen. The things that we can stop are wars if we're smart. That we can stop. Those are a matter of being intelligent and having intelligent people on the other side. Because wars are the worst of all. Wars are worse than anything. But we can stop wars because that's sort of up to us. But things like dust flying in the air, wherever COVID comes from or whatever comes, sometimes you have to be a little bit lucky. But we are poised to have an economy like no other, not only in this country, but anywhere. You know, when you hear the kind of numbers that I can tell you that Scott Bessent was with me the other day, and he's looking at numbers. He said, I can't. And that's all he's done his whole life, pretty much your whole life. Scott, you weren't going to be a football player, I don't think. Scott was not that great at football, but he was always good at numbers, right? And he was looking at numbers. He said, I've never seen anything like this. We're poised to do things that no other country's ever done. And, you know, luck, I hate to say it, but we need a little luck. We don't want to get hit by something that nobody could have thought. Whoever thought we were going to hit by a pandemic? You know, when I heard the word pandemic, I said, oh, that's an ancient problem. World War I, they lost 100 million people. It actually ended World War I. A lot of people don't know. The Spanish flu in World War I ended because all the soldiers were sick. The soldiers were so sick on both sides, and that war was raging, and they were all dying from the Spanish flu. They were sick as dogs. They couldn't fight. So, you know, you don't know how that would have turned out. But so we do, I mean, subject to that, and I always have to put a caveat in for it, but we're poised to have the greatest growth of any large country, I think any country that there's been. When you look at what's happening in the United States, it's really amazing.
Thank you. One thing that maybe keeps you up at night, I know you don't sleep that much anyway, Mr. President, is the debt. The U.S. debt is high, is now the biggest expenditure on your budget. How to get out of that impasse?
Well, the big thing is growth. I mean, growth is the way. If we grow like this, we go from having a $37 trillion. We go from having high debt to low debt. But we also are cutting expenses, you know, the old-fashioned way. We have extraordinary growth. I think we're going to be growing our way out. I think we're going to be paying off debt. We're taking in tremendous money from tariffs fairly. And again, I'm using them judiciously. You know, Switzerland's a case study. I could have gotten much more. I could have asked for much more. But we're using them judiciously. But I think growth, most importantly, and then cutting costs. Now, if you take a look at Minnesota, $19 billion in fraud and other things. People going to airports, they came into the country, they don't have 10 cents, and they're leaving with hundreds of thousands of cash in their bags. When we get to that, and our DOJ, Pam, and Todd, and all the people that work over there, and all of the people that work in here, I can tell you, Scott Bessent is working on that. It's a priority, right? You have your whole team. We're in there looking for where this money is coming from, how much it is. It could be more than $19 billion. Can you believe that? That's just one state. If we were able to cut out 50% of the fraud, 50%, and we should be able to do better than that, we would have a balanced budget without having to talk about even growth. So we have a lot of options, but we're working very hard on that. That's a big deal. It's not just the protests, the fake protests done by agitators and professional insurrectionists. That's what they are. They're professional troublemakers. But we are looking very strong at the money too, in Minnesota and other places.
I think, Mr. President, also the $500 billion invested in artificial intelligence and the frontier technologies last year also were driving growth exponentially in the
Well,
U.S.
AI has been a big factor. AI is massive. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg showed me a plant where he put it over a map of Manhattan, and it was basically the size of Manhattan. This is not. I said, you got to be kidding. It's a plant that was miles long, miles wide, very high. I don't think it was as high like the Empire State Building, but it was high. And it literally covered most of the island of Manhattan. That's called a big plant. And, when I heard they're going to spend $50 billion building it, I said, if you spend $50 million, you could build a nice little shopping center. If you spend $500 million, a shopping center. But how do you spend $50 billion? When I looked at this thing, I said, you think you'll be able to do it for that? It's amazing when, some of the plants that I see, and I see them all. And again, so big as we're letting them build their own electric generation. This way we have no problem. And otherwise they'd be complaining. There'd be nobody able to, we have an old grid system. And not only that, they're going to sell at a very cheap price the excess electricity that they create back into our grid. So that'll solve some problems for certain states that don't have enough electricity.
But we also know that on the AI, there is fierce competition between the US as the largest economy in the world, 27% of the global GDP and 5% of the global population, not doing that badly, and China. And we know that competition is very tough on AI. I know you're heading to a state visit to China in April. How do you see the US-China relationship moving forward? Are you able to combine this tough competition with also collaboration?
So I've always had a very good relationship with President Xi and with President Putin. Talk about, the larger powers. But I've always had a very good relationship with President Xi of China. He's an incredible man. What he's done is amazing. He's highly respected by everybody. And I do now. Now I have good. It was very severely interrupted by COVID. I used to call it the China virus, but he said, do you think you could use a different name? And I decided to do that because why should we have a problem over that? But I would do that, and they were
a true diplomat, huh?
I became a diplomat for the first time. Well, who taught me that? Marco Rubio. He said, let me teach you about diplomacy. Hey, any guy that gets approved by 100% of the votes, think of it, he got liberal Democrats and radical right Republicans to approve him. He's the only one. The next one was lost 45 votes, right? But he got all 100 votes voting for him. And at first I wasn't happy about it. I said, wait a minute, I don't like that. And now it turns out that the Democrats probably wish they didn't do that. And Marco has been fantastic. Marco, stand up, please. You have done a great job as Secretary of State. He's going to go down as the best Secretary of State. And Scott, and we have Susie, who's the first female Chief of Staff, and she's the best Chief of Staff, too. And I see Howard Lutnick, who I know spoke, and Howard's fantastic. Some of the deals we're doing are great. And I want to pay particular attention because we have Chris. And Chris, you got up and spoke, I think. He's the #1 oil man in the world because I was going to put Doug Burgum, who's fantastic. I don't know if Doug's here. Is Doug here? Doug Burgum is fantastic. He said, sir, there's one man better than me. And he introduced me to Chris. And he turns out to be. So we're drilling more oil and gas now than we ever have by almost double. Is that right, Chris? And on top of it, we got a lot coming out of Venezuela. So anyway, so we're doing great. The country is just doing great. We have great people. Thank you. And I see other people. We have Steve Witkoff. We have Jared. I got so many people. I'm in trouble because when I go back, they're going to be people with long faces. Sir, you didn't introduce me. I got so many people. And we have a lot of the greatest people anywhere in the world. I know them all. So I won't continue because we'd be here all day.
Like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Thanks for being here. If you're not happy, you can go run your page and talk about what you want to talk about. How about that? Be kind in the comments. I don't put up rude comments for myself or the people in the chat. Other people do that. They like negativity. I don't. Go run your page. Go talk about what you want to talk about.
We also know that you're a deal maker, and then maybe coming back to Greenland and Ukraine. What kind of deal in the end do you see between the U.S. And Denmark? Because I guess you see it now as a negotiation going on, or
Well, it's costing Denmark hundreds of millions a year to run it. And Denmark's a small country and wonderful people. But, it's very expensive. It's a very big piece of ice. And it's very important. I'm going to repeat the speech, but it's very important that we use that for national and international security. That can create a power that will make it impossible for the bad guys to do anything against the perceived good ones. And it's a great block for Europe. Just like, Denmark was supposed to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. They didn't spend the money. They didn't spend anything almost. And we'll see what happens. I just say this. NATO has treated the United States of America very unfairly. We never asked for anything. We never got anything. We actually took care of the needs of NATO for years and years, which I felt was always unfair. So I got NATO to pay because they're rich countries. But I think it's time that NATO step up. We're helping them with Ukraine. Without us, I think Putin would have gone all the way. I think we have it. I think there could have been a World War III, if you want to know the truth. If Kamala was elected, or Joe, any one of those, those thinkers, I think you could have ended up in World War III. And I will say Steve Witkoff has been dealing incredibly with, but we're not going to have World War III. We want to get it stopped, but we're not going to have World War III. I think if I wasn't elected, I think that could have evolved into World War III. It was a very, very bad situation, and it still is, but it's not that kind of bad. It's bad because so many young people are being killed.
How close do you think there is on an agreement on Ukraine? I had the pleasure of speaking with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner yesterday. I know they're working hard on it. I know that they're also traveling now. Do you see this very close or still?
Well, I hate to say it. I thought that was going to be, so I settled 8 wars plus. And I thought that was going to be one of my easier ones. Not the easiest. Some I settled in a matter of hours because I'm good at that stuff. The United Nations should be doing this. I shouldn't be doing it, but it doesn't matter. It's got to get done. Saving a lot of lives. We're saving millions of lives. With Ukraine, Russia, there's tremendous hatred between President Zelensky and President Putin. That's not good. That's not good for settlements. We know from dealing this abnormal hatred. With that being said, I think Russia wants to make a deal. I think Ukraine wants to make a deal. And we're going to try getting a deal done. Steve, I think I can say that we're reasonably close. And what happens is oftentimes we'll have a deal with Russia. Russia's set, and President Zelensky will not do it. You saw that when he was in the Oval Office. That was not happening. And then we'll have President Zelensky wants to make a deal, and Putin doesn't want to make the deal. It's a very difficult balance, and it's big time, and it is, to use a word, it's a bloodbath. It's horrible what's happening. It's a drone war. The drones are killing, thousands of people a week. Thousands. We have to get it stopped. So I believe they're at a point now. I'm going to meet with President Zelensky later today. I believe they're at a point now where they can come together and get a deal done. And if they don't, they're stupid. It goes for both of them. And I know they're not stupid. But if they don't get this done, they are stupid. So I don't want to insult anyone, but you got to get this deal done. Too many people are dying. It's not worth it.
President Sisi is sitting on the first row here. He spoke earlier today and also complimented you on the Gaza deal. I think there will be a signing tomorrow. Of course, there are different views on this, but how important do you think this signing is on the Board of Peace? And do you think this is going to sustain? Do you think we now will see Gaza reconstructed and the billions of US dollars invested?
I do. I think we have peace in the Middle East. There are some little situations like Hamas. And Hamas has agreed to give up their weapons. Now, they were born with a weapon in their hand, so it's not easy to do. When they were born with a rifle in their hand. It's not an easy thing for them, but that's what they agreed to. They've got to do it. And we're going to know, Jared, over the next 2 or 3 days, certainly over the next 3 weeks, whether or not they're going to do it. If they don't do it, they'll be blown away very quickly. They'll be blown away. We have 59 countries that are part of that whole peace deal. And some of those countries aren't even they're near the Middle East, but they're not in the Middle East traditionally. And they want to come in and take out Hamas. They want to come in. They want to do whatever they can. There's a problem with Hezbollah in Lebanon, and we'll see what happens there. But that's a problem. But there are these little flames. But there's peace in the Middle East now. Had we not gone in and knocked out with beautiful, we just ordered 25 brand new ones, the latest and the greatest, the B-2 bomber. They went in there at 2 o'clock in the morning with no moon, no light, no nothing, and every single one of those massive bombs hit its target. 100,000-pound bombs hit its target. Every one of them. And then on top of it, from a submarine 300 miles away, we hit the sites with tomahawks, which is an unbelievable weapon. So, we did our job. If we didn't do that, you would have never had peace in the Middle East. The countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar could never have, and others could never.
Let's continue with the news. Fair use reaction clip. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Don't forget to continue to hit the like button. Continue to hit the like button, please, and thank you. Let's continue.
Take a live look of President Trump right now in Davos, Switzerland. Let's listen in.
Pulitzer Prize That's getting lots of things. Yes. Exactly.
Just give it a second. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Many of them flew with me. If they're not good, they won't fly back. They're very good. Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you, and I thank the media for being here. We've taken long trips, and this was a long one, but it's been working very well. We're having tremendous meetings with heads of state, with people of very big consequence having to do with war and peace, which is why we're here. And I just want to thank the Secretary General for being with us. We have a few things to discuss. It was a meeting I actually look very forward to. He's doing a fantastic job. We've been friends. We lifted GDP from 2% to 5% together. That was done jointly, and it worked out really very well. And we appreciate it, Mark. So we'll be talking about various things. We'll be talking about Greenland. I imagine it may come up in our discussion. And but I think the trip has been amazing so far. It's been amazing. As you know, we're staying, and tomorrow we're doing something else having to do with the border peace. We're getting tremendous acceptance of that. It's going to be great. So we'll see how that all works out, but we're doing that tomorrow. So thank you very much, media. Thank you very much. And Mark, would you
just briefly, what I just wanted to say again, as I did this morning when I was in a panel, I want to thank you again for what you did since coming in January, Trump 47. Basically getting the Europeans and Canada to really step up, and that led to the enormous success we had in The Hague with the 5%. Which is crucial to defend ourselves. Also equalize with what the US is paying. This was a problem already there since Eisenhower. I always tell the Europeans, you're completely committed to NATO, but there is also that one irritant, and that is this factor, that the Europeans were not paying the same as the US was paying. And we solved it, and this is crucial also because we need the money to protect ourselves. There's one thing I heard you say yesterday and today, you were not absolutely sure that the Europeans would come to the rescue of the US if you will be attacked. Let me tell you, they will. And they did in Afghanistan, as you know, for every American who paid the ultimate, for every 2 Americans who paid the ultimate price, there was one soldier from another NATO country who did not come back to his family. From the Netherlands, from Denmark, particularly from other countries. So you can be assured, absolutely, if ever the US will be under attack, your allies will be with you. Absolutely, there's absolute guarantee. I really want to tell you this because it is important. It pains me if you think it is not. And under your leadership, this alliance is stronger than ever.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great compliment. Any questions?
Mr. President, the Danish foreign minister rejected your call to negotiate on Greenland. What will
I didn't call him.
Sorry. The Danish foreign minister rejected what you said in your speech that you were hoping to negotiate to acquire Greenland, essentially saying that this is not something that they are willing to discuss. So what will those negotiations
Well,
look
they didn't
like?
tell me that, so when they tell me, because I don't like getting it secondhand, if he wants to tell me, he'll tell me that to my face.
And when will you be discussing this?
I have no idea.
When you said
I'll be discussing it with this man here.
Mr. President,
He's frankly more important.
Mr. President, when you said you would remember if Denmark did not agree to a deal on Greenland, what did you mean? What are the consequences?
Okay, let's continue with hot news, trending news. Let's continue. Thanks for being here, everyone. I will play this as we exit.
Where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But we probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay, now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. We probably won't get...
So that's what he had to say. So let's continue with hot topics, trending topics. We're just going to do a few things today. This came up as well. I'll play this one, and then we'll continue with hot topics.
Successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also. And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and
a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that?
Is there logic in that?
You know, Chris, we're looking at the consequences of a president of the United States who's never read a book before. He's wrong about us possessing Greenland. Norway was conquered by the Nazis. Greenland went into a kind of a preserve or protectorate. Harry Truman tried to buy Greenland after World War II in 1946, which shows that it was independent and not part of us. So he has his history wrong. But speaking of history, and I don't want to over-exaggerate this, but what we've seen today is something that is really new in the 21st century, which is, as Mark Carney called it, a rupture between the United States and Europe. This Atlantic alliance, and alliances is something Trump doesn't understand or believe in, but the Atlantic alliance has kept the peace in the world for 80 years. It has boosted prosperity for everybody involved. And I think one of the things that the Europeans are realizing is just how much leverage they actually have over the United States. The European Union is our largest trade partner. The European Union owns 10% of U.S. treasuries, owns 10% of U.S. debt. The European Union has tremendous leverage over the United States. And I think
He makes it sound like they don't. We have all the leverage.
Well, I think he's wrong. And I think if the Europeans decide, as Mark Carney said, that we can unite together in opposition to a hegemon, to an authoritarian hegemon who's trying to cripple us with tariffs, we can do that. I think they can do that. And I think we're seeing for the first time today, the Europeans realizing, man, we need to really group together here. The U.S. is not our friend. He's setting himself up as an adversary. He's insulting us. We have to use our leverage.
We saved Greenland and successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves.
So let's continue. We're just going to do a few hot topics, trending topics. Let's start here. They're basically saying Will and Jada showed up to an event supporting their son. Not really going to play the audio. I don't think there was really much said, but maybe I will play it.
Hey, Will, come on. Jada. Picture, please. One stop, picture together. Together. Will Jada. Jada, Will together. Jada, please. Please. Can I take a picture? Will. Welcome in Paris, Will.
Oui, merci beaucoup.
De rien. Oh, you speak French, Will?
And me please.
Merci beaucoup. And congratulations for the first show of your son.
Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Hey, Will.
Will took pictures, but Jada was like, I'm going in the car. I'm not even entertaining none of y'all. Now, I can't confirm or deny what's being said about Will and Jada. I can't confirm or deny it, but people are talking. Go look it up. Whether lawsuits will be moving forward, don't know. But a lot of people are talking about people in Hollywood, what they do in their private time. I'm not there, so I can't confirm or deny it. But man, oh man, Hollywood. What side are most of these celebrities on? I don't know. Many people say there's been talks about Will and Jada for years, but no one ever brought a lawsuit that they were harmed or anything prior to. Within the last 2 or 3 years, people have been talking about Will and Jada wanting to proceed with lawsuits. So can't confirm or deny what's what, but well wishes to Will and Jada, because remember, Will had his book, and then his friend had spoke about, I was in the book. I was friends with Will for years. Then Jada, about 2 years ago, she came out with her book. And then she kept saying different things. And then she would go back onto the newscast and say something else. And then she went back on the newscast to say something else. And people were like, Jada, which one is it? Pick a side. So go back and look up when Jada talked about her book. Jada did a lot of press, and many people were saying, which situation should we believe? Because she went on one podcast, one news station for like at least 3 times. So many people are like, that's interesting. We're not gonna talk Erica. Like the video. Okay. We're gonna continue. We're just talking, like I said, a few hot topics, trending topics. Many people have said that Jay Z is seeking money back from them filing all those lawsuits over the years. People are like, "What? You're now filing a lawsuits against them?" Okay, we're not gonna go there. Okay, let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. Kim and North are trending. And the biggest question many people have to ask: why is a mother not protecting her daughter from media? That's the biggest question that people have asked. Why is a mother not protecting her daughter from media? The Kardashians often want to trend and go viral. Why aren't they protecting their children from media on a weekly basis? Remember, about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they rarely had the kids being talked about. Is Kim teaching North to try and do things to trend and go viral? He talked about. As a parent, you got to be careful with that because you're always trying to up the ante on what you want to trend about. Oh, she wanted to trend, and North is a beautiful girl. She's a beautiful girl. A lot of girls do play dress up. A lot of girls do like to play dress up with their friends. They want to show their friends what their parents can purchase for them. So North is a beautiful girl. She wants to show her different styles and different looks. Um, and Kanye had said years ago, 2, 3 years ago, please do not put my children in media. He said it. But Kim has made a decision. Kanye made a decision. Be careful who you have children by. Because if you're not on the same wavelength, you're not on the same what to do when we have children, if you're not on the same wavelength, you're not on the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Thoughts and feelings and how you want to raise your children, same religion, same thoughts. If you're not on that same wavelength, what's going to happen is he should have knew this might be a part of his children's lives. Turning going viral, being talked about. So, what was she to North? Many people did not like that she had hand piercings, and then I think she might have got another one. I'm not showing her picture. Kim has made decisions. We want to wish North the best. We want her to be happy in school. We want her to have healthy, safe relationships. We don't want people being next to her because of her fame. She has 2 famous parents. We want the younger generation of the Kardashians to have healthy, safe relationships. We've seen that the Kardashian girls were expected to date, whether it was a football player, basketball player, someone in the industry to help them get a leg up. We're hoping that same thing won't happen in regards to the children. Kim Kanye, concerning. Kim Pete, concerning. Kim Reggie Bush, concerning. Kim and Chris Humphrey, so concerning. Kim, in regards to her first husband, so concerning. But, Kim and Ray J, there's no words in regards to the Kim and Ray J situation. And this is the biggest thing. Companies wanted to attach themselves. They made business deals with her. She, Kim and Chris has been able to monetize off different things. That's what she wanted. But you know, you can be rich, but are you happy and at peace, mind, body, soul, spirit? She made decisions. She's rich. She must be happy with that. But in regards to the men that's attached to the Kardashians, we see that some of the men went in different than how they came out. And sometimes that happens, but it's interesting how it's happening. Kanye West will never be the same. Kanye 15 years ago, 20 years ago is not the same Kanye now. Lamar Odom 15, 20 years ago is not the same Lamar Odom that is now. Scott Disick 15, 20 years ago is not the same Scott from who is now. I can go on and on. Tristan Thompson 15 years ago is not the same Tristan who it is now. Travis Scott is not the same Travis Scott from 15, 20 years ago. You know, Travis Scott made decisions on that event. But man, I can go on and on. The baby daddies are something else. Kanye West, something else. Tristan Thompson, something else. He literally was out there on a boat kissing women, acting like he didn't want to be with Chloe, and then Chloe decided to have two children by him. Children are a blessing, but Chloe made a decision. Now she acting like, oh, you know, it is what it is. No, she made a decision, and this is the biggest thing. They have a certain look, and they had children by someone outside of their culture. So were they wanting their children to be of a mixed race? So the looks, because you got to figure, the Kardashians don't even look how they looked 15, 20 years ago. They don't. They don't look how they looked 15, 20 years ago. And Kendall got on and said she's haven't had really much done other than a few pokes here and there. But, you know, for a while they wanted to pretend perfect. Then they were in the benefits and embarrassment. And now they're saying we did this and we did this and we did that. And it is what it is. Well wishes to the children though. Many people wish that they would stop putting the children in media. Why? Give the children privacy. Give them a leg up to have normal, healthy relationships, not people wanting to be near them, by them, and around them because they're famous or that they're trending. What was the North? Kim may have a team that's helping North in regards to outfits, in regards to what she'll do to trend and go viral. We know in regards to children, in regards to acting, being in that field at a young age, whether they were in music, whether they were in acting, you know, some of them have done extremely well. We see certain actors or musicians, they were introduced to certain things too fast, but it might have been a part of the industry that was concerning. So it looks as if Kim and Kanye are keeping an eye on North. Kanye has come back around, and now Kim wants to trend with Kanye's name. Have y'all noticed that? Oh, these boots. Oh, this. Oh, that. She wants to trend with Kanye again now that he's back around. The other conversation, because some people may not know, she's talking about possibly changing the children's name from West to Kardashian. Of course, Kanye has said a lot. He's done a lot. Kanye's not excluded. We don't like how he dresses his wife. The things that him and his wife do in the private time is what they do in the private time. When you bring her out in X, Y, Z outfits, it's concerning. So, well wishes to North. It seems as if the Kardashians want the children to trend, and it's sad that they won't give the children more privacy. More privacy. It's different when they're 17, 18. You know what I mean? But they're starting them out young to be a part of certain storylines with the Kardashians. But it is what it is. Let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about. It looks as if April has chopped her hair off. This is what her hair looked like. And she has decided to chop it off. And she wanted a short bob, baby. And remember, who is it? Christy, that was the wife of Desmond Scott. Christy Scott, she's changed her name. It looks as if she wanted like a little short bob like Christy. So April looks amazing. Just be you. Okay, so that's her tattoo. Don't know if that's old or new. But yeah, many women are definitely chopping off their hair and they're showing like the Christy bob. And some are saying that it's just showing strength and hanging their girl in regards to Christy and the divorce she's going through with Desmond. So there's that. Let me see. Once again, this is just a picture of Will and Jada. We're just doing a few hot topics, trending topics. The numbers are not numbering today, so I'm not going to be on here long. But you know, Will Jada out in black, and maybe the black is a chosen color because they're what's being talked about. They have not gone to court for what's being talked about. The lawsuits haven't proceeded the way many people are in court. We can't confirm or deny. We're going to leave that up to a judge or a jury if there's any wrongdoing on Will and Jada's side. I can't confirm or deny. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. Like I said, the numbers aren't numbering. This is more pictures of Will and Jada. Just out and about. I think they said something about they were supporting um Jaden.
For them, and we're going to work together. Well, we have a concept of a deal. I think it's going to be a very good deal for the United States, also for them. And we're going to work together on something having to do with the Arctic as a whole, but also Greenland. And it has to do with the security, great security, strong security, and other things.
The tariffs are off. Nothing happens on February 1st.
No, we took that off because it looks like we have pretty much a concept of a deal.
A deal of ownership, a deal.
Well, it's a little bit complex, but we'll explain it down the line. But the Secretary General of NATO and I and some other people were talking, and it's the kind of a deal that I wanted to be able to win.
So like the video, like the video. I appreciate everyone for being here. So copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. I hope everyone has a great Thursday. I appreciate everyone for being here. Like I said, sometimes I have to go live to stay within the algorithm. I took those 4 days off and it bumped me out bad. Then I did really well. Was it Monday, Tuesday? So it's an up and down situation. So I did have to go live today. As you hear, my voice keeps going in and out. I'm fine, but my voice is, a little struggle bus today. But everything's good. I appreciate everyone for being here. Don't forget to subscribe. I don't know if I'll go live again later. Many people have been talking about the Anton Daniels and Corey Holcomb situation. Many videos were made about that. What else have many people been talking about? Blake Lively, Taylor Swift, people were talking about that. I did do shorts last night, so go definitely check out my shorts. So thanks for being here, everyone. Have a great day. Goodbye.